Hello, everyone. Wait a few seconds while everyone gets connected to the audio. Welcome, everyone. Hello, hello. Welcome to today's career exploration session. While we're waiting for some more people to join in, I do have a question to ask of you. I'll be going to the next slide here. So on a scale from 1 to 10, I would love to hear how clear you are on your direction after graduation. So 1 would be, I have no idea what I'm doing, or a 10, I know exactly what I'm doing after graduation. And this is really just for a check-in. There's no wrong answers, but I want to hear where you're at. I know for myself, when I was a student, I did not know until maybe a year after what I wanted to do. So I'd love to hear from you. I'll get the chat up here. Okay. Oh, 0. Okay. Well, we're in the right spot. We got 3s. Hello. 5 for you. Okay. It's cool to see that we have some 5s too. May, I want to ask you, what have you been doing to get clarity? I also see some 9s. Awesome. Yes, 3s. Well, you're in the right spot. That's what we're here for. We want to get you some clarity today. We got some 2s. Frank, an 8. That's awesome. If you have like a 5 and above, I want to hear from you. What have you been doing to get clarity? It's nice to share with our peers what we've been doing to get some clarity. Awesome. I want to do a check-in for a second. Mark, are you connected?
It would appear that I am.
Yay, awesome. I'm glad it's all worked out. Perfect. Okay. Okay, so I think we're ready to get started here. Let me just get my screen set up here. I got the chat and everything opened up here. So, all right, my name is Michelle Vella. I'm working with Lakehead University to bring you this career exploration series. If you're unsure about what to do after graduation, then you are in the exact spot that you should be in. These sessions give you a chance to explore different pathways, hear from industry professionals, and start making connections. And this is just one event out of a bunch of series that we're having. So if you're interested in this one, then you might want to check out the other ones that we have coming up as well. And we also have a career exploration toolkit. It's a self-guided resource to help you map out your options and start to explore labor market trends. And it's actually going to get sent right to your inbox. So once we're done the session, I'll have the recording for you, and I'm going to send this tool right over to your inbox as well. I'm going to let some more people in. Okay. So today we're focusing on a career in computer sciences, and we're joined by 3 professionals who will share insights into the organization and their own career paths. So first we have Mark Gagnon, who's the Senior Director of Operations and Client Services from Shared Services Canada. And Mark is actually an alumni from Lakehead as well. We also have Kristen Leese, who is the Lead Quality Assurance Analyst, and Handa Russworm, who is the Senior Technology Officer at Bank of Montreal. And finally, we have Bill Payne, who's the Director of Information Technology from Halton Regional Police Services. Each one of them are going to take 10 minutes to introduce their company and share a bit about their own career paths. And after that, we're going to open that up to the floor. So if you have any questions, you can feel free to unmute afterwards, or you can write it in the chat as well. So we are only here for an hour together. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Mark to start us off. And Mark, just let me know if you'd like to share your screen as well. You're welcome to.
Yeah, and I'm having some difficulty here, some tech challenges. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you perfectly.
Yeah, and it seems that my video is frozen. So this is the world that we live in. I'm gonna see
Recording in progress.
Wow. No problem.
Technology, we love you until we don't.
I know. Always the way. Mark, would you be more comfortable with maybe someone else starting first and then letting you get adjusted, or would you like us just to wait a few minutes?
Let's go to someone else and we'll figure this out.
Okay. So then Kristen and Hannah, you're up.
Alrighty. Hi,
Uh,
everybody.
I
So
don't think
happy and glad to
Jahadin
be
મને
meeting with
ખબર
you
છે એવું
guys
કઈ
here
છે.
today.
Oh,
Oh,
if you can
is there a
actually just
little?
mute as well, that would be great. Hannah and
Yes.
Kristen have the
Yes.
floor only right now.
Amazing. So I'll be kicking us off. I know Kristen likes to be behind the scenes, and this time she'll be listening in and jumping in if she has anything to add, or if she wants to share as well. Um, Thunder Bay, Lakehead, you guys actually have a special place in my heart. Thunder Bay actually has the largest community of Finnish Canadians outside of Finland itself. I myself am Finnish Canadian. You guys also have a large Indigenous culture, and I know Kristen is here in that space as well, in that community. So we're really happy and really glad to be here with you today. Very excited. BMO as a whole, when you think of us, you're like, okay, it's a bank, like what sort of technology is there? But we are one of the largest technology companies in Canada. We have all different spaces around. I myself, I look really young, but I've actually been with the bank now for 13 years. I started off and went around different areas of technology. So I worked in remote access, so people are able to work from homes. We set up the networks for all of those. I did some development on mortgage applications. So if you're interested in development, there's those spaces as well. I worked in credit and collections strategy, so a little bit on the business side, helping to coordinate the technology. I moved over to different roles in automation space, went back to writing contracts with the vendors, because in that space, it's to have the ability to communicate about technology is so important as well if you're interested in a good communicator. I went to cybersecurity, so I was working on alerting attacks that were possibly coming in, so that the investigators could go investigate those. Now I've moved into management. So I have a team. We support 50 different apps. We have small applications spanning in different areas of the bank. I also just got an expanded mandate too. So now I'm working on as a manager of credit card payment processing technology production support. So you can see it's a lot of different areas of the bank. But we're all in technology space. But even so, even though I've been here for a while, there's still so many different places that have the ability to grow into or learn about. We have a robotics team, for example. So we have there's this one robot that's really cool that moves tapes from one part of the data center to another, and it takes the tape and it goes so fast across the site and it puts it in the right order, and it is so cool. We have AI. So we have AI and machine learning. So when I was working on alerting those attacks, we were actually teaching some machines and using AI to craft those different alerting systems. We have design. So if you guys are wonderful artists, if you guys have more of a creative bone in you, there are abilities to like design for BMO. So there's what you think of marketing, but then there's also technology design. So like creating the websites, you have to have openness. There's a lot of different design areas for that as well. If you're into design. If you're interested in project management, they have lots of projects ongoing, or product management, being able to communicate between developers and our business partners. So communication, creativity, development, these are all, there's so many different areas and so many different skill sets. Some people are really good at presenting. Other people are more like to one-on-one with their work. So it's no matter who you are, you guys all have value. And yeah, don't sell yourself short. There's also areas here too. Like we have 5 full-time art curators. One of those is an Indigenous art curator as well. We do a lot of work here at BMO in reaching out to our Indigenous communities and connecting with them. We have a research group who writes, and Chris and I are a part of that, and we research and post to our community forums different information about communities or upcoming events that Indigenous communities have, or initiatives that we can get a part in. So one that I'm working on right now is about the Pizton First Nation. I'm working on researching a little bit about them and putting this together for awareness. We have a group of community advocates, the Sharing Circle. I know Kristen runs that one as well. So they like to advocate for Indigenous communities and activism. We also give back. So BMO has pledged over $8 million in 10 years to support Indigenous communities. We have Indigenous banking units. We have sponsorships. Lots of different opportunities here. Have I answered the
I just want to
question?
touch on some of the things that Hannah said and kind of just give an overview, I guess, of BMO. BMO, one of the big slogans is drive your own career. And there's lots of supports within BMO on how to do that. There's lots of resources which I can share for students if they want to do an internship, explore opportunities that way. After they're done, if they want to explore the career opportunities, all the different areas of the bank and what those opportunities look like. We have a page designated for that. Once you're in BMO, you have mentor opportunities to receive a mentor when you're new. And if you don't get hooked up with one, you can ask. There's great HR DE&I partners, there are other HR partners that you can reach out to. I've had a few mentors since I started with career, which really helped because I've only been with bank for years, and this was my first corporate job. I went back to work. I went back to school in my 40s, worked full time and did an intense program because I knew this is what I wanted to do. My first position wasn't an ideal fit for me, but being in the BMO landscape, I knew that I wanted to stay there. And through some of the ERGs, like the one that Hannah mentioned, the Sharing Circle, I was able to network, meet people, and learn about opportunities. Also, we have in our segment a monthly big call, and you literally can say in that call, I want to learn about this. And you have someone reaching out to you later that day or the next day saying, we're doing a session on this. Would you like to join? I'm like, yes, absolutely. So there's a lot of opportunities to learn on the job. But obviously, if you are interested in technology, you don't have to be pigeonholed. You can start and just say, you know what, I find this interesting. And being able to jump around the bank to different positions is desirable for leaders. So Hannah's done well that way.
All right, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you wanted to add? Not sure if you're done, Hannah.
I think Kristen's covered it.
Okay, thank
we're
you.
excited to be here.
Awesome, thank you. Mark, are we good to go? Thumbs up? Okay, over to you.
All right, so just a thumbs up. You can hear me all right? I apologize for the technical problems. Much like Hannah, I too have a passion and a soft spot for Lakehead University. I tell my parents that Thunder Bay is my hometown. It was there, and I'm going to close my eyes because this is going to be about a theme, and it's going to follow along sort of Hannah. I'm in Rainy River in residence at Bartley. I can see our house president, and he told us going to school isn't just about going to your classes. It's about getting involved in your community. And that has resonated, has been a common theme. So really nice to be here. Thank you for the invitation. My name is Mark Gagnon, and I'm an executive within the Federal Public Service. And for the last 8.5 years, I've been with Shared Services Canada. The Government of Canada's largest IT department. We provide services, network. You heard Hannah talk about remote access, cybersecurity on behalf of 46 government departments, over 120 agencies. And so we work with those partners to do really great things for Canada and really great things for Canadians. Not bad for a guy who has a degree in outdoor recreation and history. So even though I have a degree in outdoor recreation and history, the majority of my career has been spent within an interesting section of IT and program development. And I must admit, I'm going to confess, the public service wasn't my first choice. Shortly after graduating, or while I was graduating, I was working on an article, and as an an undergraduate, I had an article published in an academic journal, which was led me down to Chicago, and I had a school offering me an opportunity to further my education. And at that time, I was faced with, probably a common, deeper in debt or take a job. And I chose the job and a steady paycheck, and I haven't looked back. And it's been really, really interesting. I had the opportunity. I taught myself how to code, both HTML and XML. And at one point, I was taking care of, sort of that webmaster, that front face for at that time, the Canada Revenue Agency, more specifically, the services that help protect our borders and keep our country safe and secure. And then I got involved in other programs that facilitate travel. If you've ever traveled across at an airport and you see those kiosks called Nexus, each time I use one of those, I could go, hey, I was directly involved in that. Got involved in setting up international agreements, treaties that help work with our international partners to strengthen Canada and our partners like the US, New Zealand, Australia, the UK in terms of border security and immigration security. And was and it was just one of those things that, again, I think as Hannah mentioned, the front door was there. I started off as a student, the Federal Student Work Exchange Program. That's a front door. And the more you get involved, the more you raise your hand and look for those opportunities, ask for questions, continue that growth mindset, things happen. And so right now, I'm a senior director within the public service. I help two departments, both strengthen, pardon me, their cybersecurity posture. Hannah talked about the importance of cybersecurity. Make sure you have your password isn't just password 123. Certainly, also work with another department that's responsible for paying public servants. That's responsible for providing payments to Canadian businesses and Canadians. And so again, it's just really exciting stuff. And so there's lots of opportunities here. You can work in cybersecurity. You can get involved in artificial intelligence. You can, if you want to work on, helping build contact centers, there's that opportunity. Get involved in integrating technology like Zoom to help facilitate meetings. There's those opportunities there. I think the training's there, the ability to sort of raise your hand and get involved to develop your career. I heard Kristen talk about mentorship programs. We have an Indigenous sort of IT program as well. Again, many, many opportunities. And I think, without waxing poetic, the bird's in your hand. Wherever you want your career to go within the federal public servant, there are opportunities to go there. And so, that's a quick summary, but I do want to encourage all of you just to take a look around, to get involved, to not lose that growth mindset and that curiosity that comes with being a student. Build your networks and continue to find ways to get involved.
So awesome. Thank you so much. And I can see Lakehead behind you as well. You got the scarf as well. Love
That's
it.
right. I wear it with pride each time I go to a Thunderwolves game.
Love it. Thank you so much. Bill, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Michelle, for inviting me to speak. And Hannah and Mark, you guys are a tough act to follow. I can't decide whether I'd rather work for BMO or Shared Services after this. So thanks for that. I'm Bill Payne. I'm the Director of IT for Halton Regional Police, and I'm also the Executive Director of Technology for Canada's only public safety broadband network for first responders. So we are a carrier, wireless carrier for first responders, which I'll tell you a little bit about that. So I started at the Halton Regional Police really to sort of build the department from nothing, really. So this was about 17 years ago. And since then, now we've modernized our police service and brought our technology closer in line with the needs of the community and our frontline officers. So we operate 911 communications center. I'm responsible for all of the technology in there, my teams, as well as all of our enterprise IT and any outward-facing interfaces, all of our vehicle technology, which is pretty interesting. We also built and operate a region-wide voice communication system, fully encrypted wireless P25 system. We have about 13 regional partners on it. So fire and ambulance and city works of Burlington, Oakville, and Milton, and all around. They're all on the system, which we built and managed. We get involved quite a bit in technology leadership. So we're undertaking now a number of AI-driven projects. And just recently, in the press, we're linking up with Peel Police and York Police to enable a facial recognition system, AI-driven facial recognition system, which will help us find criminals who have committed acts of crime against our lawfully obtained database of mugshots. So we're really excited about those sorts of things. I'll tell you that if you scored yourself 10 or 0 in the survey, if you do the best that you can do, you're in for a heck of a fun ride. I'll tell you a little bit about my background. I started off my career by enlisting in the Canadian Forces. So I was in the Air Force, and I was communications and electronics branch radio tech of all things. And I learned radio technology. I was in the field troubleshooting, fixing, repairing, building wireless systems, which I turned into a computer science career. When things came up, I put my hand up. I grabbed a hold of a new system. I taught myself Oracle on an old Unix platform at that time, and wrote software for our Air Command to change how they managed secure messaging throughout the Air Command. So it was a lot of fun. I went from there to Kingston. I was posted to Kingston, and I worked at our college, the Canadian Forces School of Communications and Electronics. And I developed electronics training programs and delivered them, and also developed and delivered data communications maintenance courses for our technicians. So it was a lot of fun. I left the military then and started in the private sector, and I started to work for an outsourcing company. So I ran communications in a data center in Richmond Hill, and we had clients like the Government of Ontario MTO databases, and we had Ontario Lottery Corporation and some pretty major clients. We did all the bill payment processing for a number of major banks. Hannah, probably we did a bunch of things for BMO in the past too. It was great, and I learned so much, and it was really interesting work. I went from there to Royal LePage. I was the manager of IT for the residential division of Royal LePage for a while, which was cool. Took them through a few major transitions, like built their wide area network for them, got them onto new financial services packages and things like that. And I left there and I went to Travel Cuts, which at that time was the Canadian Universities Travel Service. And what a blast. I got to work with so many really cool, fun people who were really keyed in on the business that they were running. And we took 45 bricks and mortar shops in Canada alone and turned it into over 100 internationally, with about 4 or 5 different brands under it, which was so much fun. building systems, learning the business. And we actually were able to work so many like net fare deals with airlines that we became an airline ourselves without airplanes. So we actually had an airline code and we had our own ticket stock, and we were able to print tickets with our own airline code, which was really cool thing. I left from there and did a couple of startup companies. I did a financial services startup, which was before Interac, and wireless payments. We built a wireless payment system, which we piloted in Toronto. It was really cool. So I took the product from concept to an actual working product with customers. We had 400 retailers on it and some pretty fun brands. And it was basically credit card or bank account backstopped account, which had an RFID tag that you could pay for things, micropayments really fast. It was really fun. I left there to take an opportunity at an online marketing company, which again was really fun. One of my duties there was to go and build a research and development center. So I set up a software research and development center in Bulgaria, of all places, which I had traveled to and done business in there before, in having been in the travel business. So I set up a software development shop there for our company. And then I came back from that, and I was kind of tired of the startup life, and so I got approached by the Halton Regional Police. And I think what's kind of unique about my experiences around there is that I have a higher tolerance for risk because of the experiences I've been through. So I've used that to bring my experience full circle back to public service, which I really enjoy. And it's allowed us to really lead in a number of really critical areas that have really helped our communities. And now we advise to a lot of national associations around first responders, and we're part of an international association of critical communication systems operators, and we've received awards from them, internationally recognized for our efforts around our wireless carrier activity here. And this year I was invited to be a judge, so I'll be in Brussels for the awards ceremonies this year. And so the lesson is, I guess, if you're be interested in this stuff, it's so cool. There's so much to do with data, and just do the best you can. And your career may be a straight line, or it may be a meandering, wandering stream, but either way, enjoy it and do the best you can. Thanks.
Thank you so much. So much great information. And I can already see that students are just dying to ask questions. So I'm going to open it up to the floor for students to ask questions. So you can feel free to raise your hand and then unmute, or you can ask in the chat. We already had one question come up. I know that a big question for students is starting to look for part-time work because they want to build their experience before they graduate. And especially for those students in Thunder Bay, they're having a hard time finding part-time opportunities. So they'd love to hear if there's any advice around that.
Yeah, I can jump into that one. I sort of put it in the chat already, but I myself am in Calgary. So I am also remote. I recommend to look into remote roles. I also recommend take a look at the different roles. Sometimes, like I've hired people onto my team who have been in Vancouver, who've been in Alaska, India, US. So it really varies around. I would be looking when I'm hiring more for like attitude and aptitude. Are they willing to learn? Are they, do they have a skill set I'm looking for, whether that be, creative or dev or whatever it may be at that time. And then sometimes on the posting it doesn't say remote, but if the right person comes along, then I would consider bringing them on remote, because then we have the right person.
Yes, awesome. Anyone else have anything to share about that one? Part-time work, it's always the hot question that people want to know. And I can see more job search questions coming in. as well. I
I see
have a
that Mark
question.
has raised his hand.
Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you so much for that. I couldn't see that. Yes,
Yeah,
you can unmute and ask.
so yeah, within the federal public service, would encourage you. Like I mentioned, I started off my career, and who would have thought, in 1997 when I joined the federal student work exchange program, it would take me down an interesting path. So there's one that path there. It's current jobs.gc.ca. There's a section around students. And then for those that are interested in co-op placements, there are also those opportunities to leverage and hook up with departments or the government of Canada to see there. Now, I won't have the same, we won't have the same flexibility as Hannah in terms of country. Certainly being in Canada is good, but I know that we've in fact, I think that we were working with a student at Lakehead University who was working up at Lakehead, but helping design some contact center services for us here in the nation's capital. And so there are those opportunities. Take a look. Work with your career center services as well to leverage those co-op programs. And if you're not on LinkedIn, would encourage you to get on LinkedIn, start building that brand. If I can use that, it sounds kind of corny, but because you'll see some of those opportunities with respect to students and people that are looking for, going to work for a different department or wanting a different experience. And again, the message there is get involved, take a chance.
I would like to address a question in the chat. There was a question, in the bracket it says Devery. I don't want to try and put a name, but they were saying after listening to speakers, I realized, and their question was about like compliance and rules and regulations, I think, and how much did your employer expect you to know? Honestly, I started with BMO as a business analyst. And then I moved over to a QA analyst position for what is now called retail products and service. I think our name is changed in the fall. I actually got my QA position with no QA experience. My manager met me, asked me some questions, had some faith in me, and I learned everything on the job. And regulations are always changing. So you have to pay attention, listen. That's how you're going to learn. And other projects may not be aware of these regulations. So that's why you have to be the one to ingest that. They don't expect everyone's going to know everything about every regulation about the bank, but they do provide, information so that what's relevant to you and you may need on your job, you can learn.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I know we have a question here. Sarthrak, you were asking a question. You've been waiting patiently. Feel free to unmute and you can ask your question.
All right, thanks.
Thank
Thanks
you.
everyone for making the time today. So I have a couple questions. First question is, for any of the organizations that you work for, do they hold any bug bounties or capture the flag contests for cybersecurity positions? And my second question would be that I have some experience in cybersecurity and DevOps, but that's obviously in foreign country. And then would it be possible as a master's graduate to directly apply to some of the more experienced roles or consulting positions, or is it a mandatory thing to be started as entry-level roles? Thank you.
I would like to take this one here, but would anybody else like to take it as well? We do capture the flag. We also have a job posting, and this goes for any posting really. I don't think that anybody should sell themselves short. Sometimes the like employer lists a bunch of prerequisites. Okay, they're looking for this, looking for that. Women especially, we like to like as a generalization, apply to the role when we meet 100% of those requirements. Men apply like speaking in broadly when it's like 70% of those requirements. So it's like there's already a little bit of inequality, even if you have the same experience, the same level of competence. There's sometimes that little bit of unconfidence. So I think even like applying that to the role itself, if what you're looking for, the recruiter will actually look through the resume and say, okay, this person actually does have what we're looking for, even if it's not directly written like this. We're actually looking for more of a role that has this type of person or this type of skill. So I would say apply, and then what's the worst that could happen?
Thank you. I'm going to interject and have a question myself, actually. So if you were in student shoes right now, what would be the first step that you'd take? I know a lot of them are just really wanting to get some experience. So when it's time to graduate, they're ready to go. What would you do if you were in their shoes? I think Bill has an answer here.
Thanks, Michelle. Yeah, I think I would be looking for co-op opportunities. I can tell you that our organization has hired a number of co-op students who've turned out to be leaders of departments for us too. And have come back like a couple of times on co-ops and have definitely, proven their value, willing to learn. And I think that's a huge part of it. And a few of you have mentioned that. Because, no matter what you bring, it's your ability to learn and to adapt and work with people. That's really kind of what it comes down to. But I would suggest that. And then, we get also involved for problem solving in like hackathons that schools might put on or different organizations might put on. And those are great for problem solving things. And those are nice things to get involved with and have on your resume. It gets you a little bit of insight into some of the business problems that those participants are trying to solve. And it's kind of a great way, and it's fun too.
Thank you. Mark, were you going to say something? I see you're unmuted.
Yeah, and I'm on my phone, so it's hard for me to unmute and mute. So, I think following what Bill said is you take the opportunity. And I really liked what Hannah talked about. I know my boss is a big advocate of women in science, tech, engineering, and medicine. In fact, she's pushing me and encouraging and really changing to encourage to change the face of the public service. Because I'll admit that there's, our strength is in our diversity, and having different perspectives helps us all. And I'll put in the chat jobs.gc.ca. Bill, I really appreciated your point about co-op placements, because good things can happen. And maybe I'm an example. I was just looking for a better job than retail. I went into the federal student work exchange program, and I was paid fairly well as a student. And I didn't have to, talk to customers selling shoes. And that led to something else. And then that led to something else. And, again, it's your ability to learn. And there are training programs out there you get involved in. And I'm not a techie, but when, teaching myself how to code XML and HTML, to get involved in biometrics and facial recognition, the world really is your oyster if you bring that growth mindset and say, hey, this is a door, this is an entry, this is an opportunity, and I'm going to go where it happens. And I'll share some advice that someone said is you can always sort of try to manage your career, and it's always good to do that, manage your brand, but also let your career happen, sort of, take those chances, because your career isn't just a 10-year focus. It could, be 30 years, 35 years, 40 years. And so you have a long runway in which to explore, learn, and grow. So I'll leave it at that.
I agree with that. I think really, I think a lot of people put pressure on themselves that they have to choose like the perfect opportunity right away, but it really is about experimenting. Like you try different things and notice what you like and what you don't like. I know that a question that comes up for a lot of students as well while they're trying to do their job search, we know that computer science specifically is really competitive, and they might have doubts of, I don't really have experience and I'm applying to these jobs. How am I going to stand out compared to other people? When you've looked at student applications or resumes before, what are some things students can do to really stand out in the recruitment process? Yeah, go right ahead.
Pardon me. I think, you know, within the government, it's a bit strange because we do have some, I'm going to say some policies and directives in which, but I'm going to say always be your authentic self. Bring that passion. And I'm quirky. You know, and there are meetings when I celebrate, hey, thanks for everyone for joining today. Really excited that today is National Pancake Day. And now I'm gonna riff on, you know, the Finnish sort of thing that Hannah mentioned. It is about bringing your authenticity to that and being your authentic self. Don't put on a mask. Always present your best self forward, but be comfortable in who you are and what you bring to the conversation. And I think people, as hiring managers, we see that. And really, again, Hannah, really appreciated what you said about those two ways, aptitude and attitude. Really, really good things. Because for myself, I want people that want to learn, that aren't necessarily going to come in with, hey, I know everything and I want to do everything. I think that's one of the best ways to sort of put your best way forward.
Oh, sorry, you had your hand up. I can't find that hand up feature. I'll let you go, but I would like to add to that.
Over to you, Bill.
I was going to let Kristen go ahead because she wanted to add on to Mark's. So that's okay. Go ahead, Kristen.
Okay, thank you. That's so kind of you. Sorry, I don't know where the hand feature is on here. I'm used to Teams. Um, so absolutely be your authentic self. I myself have been at job fairs and see someone smiling and nodding to an employer so vigorously, I was scared and backed away from them. I wasn't even talking to them. So it's very important to be yourself. But it's also very important when you're applying for a job to read over that job description and prepare what you want to say. Try to anticipate what kind of questions they're going to ask you and do your best to steer your answer to what you want to present about that, what's your best attribute affiliated with these jobs. When I was in college taking the ITBA program, we had a careers class or whatever, and part of it was we had to do a mock interview. And he's like, I have never seen anyone that has the type of interview skills that you have. And you know, I've always been one to ask questions, so I've always been curious. And also my first job out of high school, I was a reporter at a small community newspaper. So I have interview skills, and it's so important to one, hone those skills so that you can present yourself in the best light when you do get the opportunity for an interview. Be authentic for sure. Don't lie. Don't make things up. Don't say you're more charitable than you are. Just be yourself, but present yourself the best you can and be prepared for that interview.
Really good advice. I think that a lot of job seekers in general want to be answering in a way that, you know, what does the recruiter want to hear from me instead of just answering authentically. So that's really good advice. I have a question here in the chat too. Are there any cybersecurity certifications that you recommend in particular for getting started that Canadian employers and public offices look for?
Do one of you guys want to take this one, or else I can answer as well? Alrighty. So for different certifications, some require you to have a certain amount of time. For example, if you're looking at a CISSP, that one requires about 5 years. But if you're looking for ones that you can get right out of the bat, if you have had interaction, even in your school, those classes do count towards hours of experience for some of these certifications. So you can look at like the cybersecurity risk ones, cybersecurity audit ones. I myself was working on a CISA when I was in school. There are some that you could do the schooling and you could write you can do the schooling, you can do those number of hours, but then if you need a certain amount of time, when you start having the experience to when they will allow you, you can finish and write the exam at that time. So it really varies. Take a look into the different cybersecurity roles. They're all very valuable to have. There's yeah, you can't go wrong with them. You can even do like project management along with it, or you can work on other ones that you wouldn't think of being cybersecurity-esque. So, for example, we have a cybersecurity team that's a cybersecurity education team. A lot of those are teachers. A lot of those come in and they're from a creative writing background or a political science background. So you can have these different technology roles that you think of that you're like, like, what do I like? Like, what am I good at? Am I good at writing? Am I good at speaking? Am I good at what really do you enjoy? What do you like to do? And then take a look, and you can really, once you get into the roles, to kind of tailor to them as well. So you can say, you know what, this role, I work in design, and it could I don't know. So you could really go in and you can tailor those roles. Yeah, and yeah, definitely those certifications.
Thank you. Bill, is your hand up from the last question? Do you
Yep.
want to add to this one as
Nope.
well?
No, and I think, well, I can touch on a little bit of both those things. And Hannah, yeah, I think you're bang on right. And while you might be able to cover a bunch of the things, challenge yourself too, because you can't know everything. And I don't think, like, when you get to an interview, you don't want to come off that you know everything. I think that, on the application part, the spray and pray method of trying, like, tell everything and shoot everything out everywhere might not be your best strategy. And there's lots of information on how to write nice resumes, and this is your your introduction. I would say learn about the business that you're applying to, and you can ask politely some questions of business challenges and things like that, and that's a good level of engagement, because really, when we're hiring, we're looking for people to help us solve problems and to move things forward. So if you start that right away, if you should be fortunate enough to get an interview, then that's amazing. And Hannah's right about these security certifications too. Of course, everything is security, and security is everything. And you have to have some good background knowledge to really be a good practitioner in these things. And you have to start somewhere. So that would be my recommendation on this. Thanks.
Thank you so much. The chat is blowing up with more questions here, so I'll go on to the next one. We have one from Samia. How are you guys seeing the shifts in job opportunities given the boom in AI? Has it changed the kind of roles that your company has?
I could take a stab at that.
All right.
Yeah, and certainly AI, and much like cyber, if you invest in yourself and focus on sort of that training, then you're positioning yourself. That's what we need right now. AI certainly is we're looking at how we can use AI to advance things, whether it's respect to data analytics and data modeling. So those investments in that space are really, really key. I would also encourage you, don't be shy to, and I'm using it, and I still have I use AI in my job to help me sort of springboard to that next step. So continue to practice it and leverage that tool to, help. You could use AI to help you write your cover letter. And there's nothing wrong with that, because those are the tools that we are using today, and those are the tools that we'll be using in the future. So investing in cyber, investing around getting an understanding of AI and how it can use. I put in the chat again, my colleagues at the Communication Security Establishment, they have some job opportunities for students. Would encourage you to explore that as well. And it's just, again, investing in those skill sets. Cyber and AI, nothing wrong with that. Would encourage you to continue to invest in those areas.
Thank you. Bill, did you want to add to that as well?
Thanks. Yeah, and that's an excellent question because I think a lot of organizations today are looking for use cases for AI because, we're all wired to run sort of traditional IT, driving nails into boards, and we're trying to, do compliance and bring data forward. And then along comes AI, which is an incredible opportunity. And so we're looking for use cases, and menial tasks and things like this for analysis are fantastic. We're already seeing these things. I've been asked to sit on a committee for the Ontario Association of Chiefs of Police to set up governance for AI opportunities for Ontario Police Services, which is going to be a really fun exploration too. You can tell I love this stuff. But I think, use the tools that are there, learn about the model, try to understand what's behind these models as you're doing this, because bad information in is bad information out in these things. So really, ask yourself why. And that's been a kind of universal thing I've applied throughout my career is why and how. How does it do it? Why does it do it? What's the benefit? Those sorts of things. So hopefully that's helpful.
Thank you so much. So I think we'll take two more questions because we're getting close to end of time here. So we have one here. I'm graduating in August this year. When's the best time to apply to jobs, as everyone seems to want to hire immediately?
I would say you can apply at any time between now and August. And if they're looking for like new graduates in particular, they'll know, your graduation cycles. So they'll be prepared that, okay, we're looking for a person for August. This is the timeline we're looking for. And then they'll work with you a little bit. So I think now you can start to apply and then towards August as well. Continue. I know it's a long time in the future, but going into summer, there'll just be more jobs popping up and appearing. So I think I do like the method of apply to a lot of places and get your name out there.
So kind of feeding into that AI question we had before, I know there's a lot of people who are interested in that area, wanting to know if there's any kind of certifications, I guess, where to kind of get some upgraded information to learn about AI. Any kind of guidance on that?
I would say look on Microsoft and IBM and AWS, their pages, and see. They sometimes have free courses. They sometimes offer courses that have certification. I would think that those would be your best bet. I'm sorry, is the meeting over?
No, you're good. Sorry,
Okay,
keep going.
okay,
You're good.
great. And definitely AI is changing the BMO landscape slightly. We just had an announcement recently who's going to be leading our AI segment of the bank. So, there's going to be more and more positions available in AI. I personally got to go to IBM offices and try AI out, how to send a letter to someone that met certain criteria for life changes about life insurance. So it was interesting. But if you are going to use AI to draft your resume, still proof it. It's not 100% yet. So
Yes, I would agree to that too. I kind of look at it as a brainstorming partner polishing up, because then it just becomes this whole generalness where it blends in with all the other people applying to the position. So it's your partner, but not your full writer, essentially. Really great information today. And I want to thank everyone for coming here, especially Mark, Bill. We have Hannah and Kristen as well. I really thank you so much for coming and spending time out of your day to be here. I just want to remind you as well that this was part of an entire career exploration series that we have. So if today was great for you and you found it insightful, check out our other ones. And I want you to keep in mind that maybe, let's say, you're not necessarily interested in a creative career, but they might have a tech department. So you want to be connecting with these other employers that are there as well. So keep an eye out for that. And as I mentioned, we talked about a lot of cool things today where we said, you can look at, your job in computer science, but what other areas can you go in? Is it more creative or educational? With this career exploration tool, you can kind of guide yourself and kind of see what are some other positions that might be interesting in computer science. And this toolkit is going to help with that from start all the way to the end of all the different ways that you can explore your career. And we're going to send that right to your inbox. And again, thank you everyone for coming, and I hope you have a great day. The recording and the toolkit will be sent off to you very shortly. Thanks, everyone.